density, like
All right.
over it. That's all.
All right, we're gonna get started here. We have some if you have background noise, please mute on your end until you speak.
Okay, I'm trying to get there.
I just got off the phone. I just got off the phone.
Okay. Are you ready, Christine?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So the first step to running comps obviously is to log in. There's many ways to run comps. Like there's free tools out there like Zillow.com, and even Hall's website has some as well. So like if you want to run just like a really quick comp just to get an idea, to get an idea without going through all of this. One of the ways, call this 0. One of the ways is using Zillow.com. It's not very accurate, but it's called Zestimate. Okay. There's another website called ePraiser.com, Realtor.com. All of these has tools that you can use to run comps. So Hall.com, if you don't log into it, you can also run comps, but if you don't log in as a realtor, they don't give you a specific number. They give you a range. For example, let's say a house was sold for $120,000. So instead of telling you that it sold for 120, they'll say that it sold between 110 to 130,000. And so you don't know the exact amount, so you just guess that it's like in the middle of that. Okay. For Zillow.com, ePraiser, Realtor.com, they're pretty straightforward. Let me show you on how it looks on Hall.com. If you go to, assuming you don't log in, okay, you go to this home value right here. You click on that, and you guys select Houston, and then whatever the last 6 months, whatever the subdivision is, or property. So let me see if we were to do 029 for that Rhode Island property. Was it 9226 or 9326?
9226.
Rhode Island. Zero. Why? Let me go to more filters. Instead of doing address, I'm going to do Clinton Park, name of subdivision. 6 months. Search. All right. So here, let me log out here because it recognized that I'm logged in. So it's giving me, here you go. You see how like this one, so this property sold for 124, but instead of telling us that it sold for 124, it tells us it sold for between 120 to 130, right? So whatever it says that, you just guess about half of that as a sold comp. So this is if you're not logged into the MLS, this is like a really quick way to look at some of the comps. But because all of you guys have the login, you really you might as well use that. So there you have it for quick comps that you use. And so here in Texas, we have what we call a non-disclosure state. What that means is that whenever a property is sold, we don't disclose, or we don't have to disclose how much it was sold for. And so because of that, these free services like Zillow.com, they don't have a way to get accurate sold data. So they can only, they have a sort of a formula that they use to guesstimate the data, but they don't truly know what the data is. And so that's why services like Zillow.com, they're not as accurate as if we log into the MLS and run comps from there directly. Okay. And so that's the reason why, for when we start looking deeper into a property, we always log into the MLS and run comps, because that's where the appraisers also log in to do their appraisal as well. And so we want our comps to be as close to the appraisals, what an appraiser would appraise the property for, as much as possible. All right. So assuming you already log into the MLS, okay, so let me go here. So once you log into the MLS, let's say if the property is not listed on the MLS yet, what happened? Take duplicate logins. Oh, because I just logged out, that's why. All right, let me log in.
Hey, Tim,
Yeah.
I can only see the mind map view, so I can't see your MLS.
Oh, okay. Let me check the share thing here. All right. Thank you for saying that. See. All right. I see what happened. Okay. How about now? Can you see my MLS now?
Yes, I can see.
Yes.
Yay.
Thank you.
I was on the other. Okay. Well, never. Okay, well, I'll just go back there real quick just to show you guys what it looks like. So if you were to go on har.com, let's say you didn't log in or anything, or you don't have a login. So like, for example, if we were to teach our students where they don't have access to MLS, we'll just tell them to go on har values right here, and then do a search very similar to the way we would search inside the MLS, with the subdivision. And notice here how the sold, it'll give us a range instead of an exact amount. So like this house was sold for 124, but it tells us it sold between 120 and 140. So so a student can just guesstimate it sold about 130, but they can't get exact like the way they can with inside the MLS, right? And if they go to Zillow, Christine, like if you want to go to Zillow and find value, you click on Zestimate over here, and you put in the property address, and Zillow will do that for you. And back here, and same thing with ePraisal, Realtor.com. Those are some of the tools that you can use to do quick searches. It's very useful when you don't have MLS access, but since all of us have MLS access, it makes our life a lot easier. All right, so now for most properties that we're dealing with these MLS listings, all of these properties are listed on the MLS already, and so in our data we already have the name of the name of the subdivision, as well as so let me go here. Yeah, like we already have the name of the subdivision. We already have the square footage. I didn't put in bedroom, bathroom here. I guess maybe we'll put that in for next month or something, so that way we don't have to go on the MLS to search to get the data. But yeah, so because we already have these data, we don't have to do an actual search. But assuming, let's say we were to run comps on a property that's not listed on the MLS, then the first thing we need to do is we need to click on this public records here, and put in the address of the property, so that way it can tell us what the what the data is. So I'm gonna put in 9226 Rhode Island. All right, so here, the whenever it says MLS beds like this, that means that that's what the MLS report as the number of bedroom and bathroom, which is not necessarily the same as the county. Okay, because if we go down a little bit, the county listed this property as only a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, and not a 3-bedroom. Okay, so okay, bedroom right here. Tax says 2, MLS says 3, bathroom is 1. Okay, square feet is 876. All right. So so scrolling down to the property characteristics here will give us the information: year built, lot size. So these are the information that we need about the property to run comps on it. And it also tells us like the condition of the of the property as well, so that gives us an idea. But we want to scroll back here. One of the most important thing that we need to get when we're running comps is the name of the subdivision right here, Clinton Park. Okay, so in this, so let me go back here. So you want to go on that public records. You want to get the name of the subdivision. You want to get how many bedroom it is, how many bath, how many square feet, what the lot size is, and what the year built is. These are the 6 major things that we need to get about the property that will then help us analyze and compare it to the other properties. All right. And so now we're going to go back to the MLS. Okay, so now we know so like in this case, we know it's Clinton Park. We know it's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 876 square feet. Oops. 1 bath, 876 square feet. Lot size was 6,000 something. So I'm just gonna put 6,000 for now. Year built was like 1940 something, so I'll put 35 for now. Let me go back. Oops, go too much. All right, 6,600 for lot size and 1940 year built. Go back here. 1946. 6,600. All right, so you guys got that? So subdivision, bedroom, bathroom, square feet, lot size, and year built. Now we're gonna go back to the MLS and we're gonna select the status from active to sold, meaning active, option pending, pending, sold, from 0 to 180 days, and the name of the subdivision. So go back here. So I'm gonna go. You can either go to search single family home quick or classic. If you normally I use quick because when you're using quick, all the data are up here, so we don't have to do too much scrolling to put in the data that we need. But sometimes I use classic because quick doesn't allow me to search by the MLS number. So, for example, like if the property is listed on the MLS, it has an MLS number right here that we can put in and
Hey, your share screen stopped with me.
Screen share stop. Oh, okay. Okay, is it back?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So the only time when I use the classic search is when I need to search an MLS numbers, because it's faster than if I search the address of the property. If like all of these properties where it's already listed on the MLS, searching by the MLS number is faster. So all right, so I'm gonna go back. So that's when I use this classic search right here. It's when I need to do MLS numbers. Otherwise, I'll use quick. But you can use either one, just get used to. The only difference is like where the information is laid out. Notice in Quick, all the information that we need to enter is laid out here, here, and here for us, right? So here, here, and here. So it's this top area, which is pretty easy. But for the Classic, the information we need is here. Boom, 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 bedroom, bathroom here, and subdivisions here. So it just, the layout's a little bit different, but just get used to it. All right. So I'm gonna go to Quick real quick. So normally when you go to Quick, active, option pending, pending continue to show, pending is already pre-checked. The only extra thing that we need to check is sold, okay? The only times when I use withdrawn, expire, and terminated is when I'm researching that specific property to see if ever been listed on the MLS before, what happened to it. That's the only time when I use this. If I'm just running comps generally, I don't use that. Active is every property that is available for sale right now that nobody has under contract yet, okay? Option pending is when someone has it under contract, but they're still within their option period, like we are right now with Rhode Island. So right now with Rhode Island, we're under option pending, and then tomorrow, if we don't terminate our contract today during the option pending period, tomorrow it's going to become pending and not option pending anymore, okay? So that's what it is. Pending continue to show, that's very similar to pending. The difference is that, normally if an agent doesn't want to show the property anymore, or the seller doesn't want to, they already get the property in the contract with the buyer, and they feel good about that buyer. They don't want any more buyers to go looking at the property. Then they'll put it into pending only. But if they want to continue to shop to look for more buyers or backup buyers, then they'll select pending continue to show. So that means other agents can continue to show the property. All right. So, and then automatically it selects 0 to 180 days for us. If we want longer than that, then we just put in the dates accordingly. So in this case, we're just gonna put 180, okay? All right, normally the first thing I do is I do the status here and I do the subdivision. I don't go into square feet and year built until, if I get a lot of comps that comes back, then I'll go and I'll drill it in further. But if not, I wanted to get a big view of what activities are going on in that area. So in this case, it tells us there's 9 matches there, just by putting in Clinton Park and not anything else. So I want to see, what the differences are. So we see there's an active for 115,000, but it's a lot bigger than our property. That's, that won't be close enough to our property to compare. Our property is option pending. We have, this one pending real cheap for only 26,000 with 13 something square feet. We should look into that a little bit here. We have another Rhode Island property right down the street that's pending for 69.9. Okay, that's good. We have, this one's too big, so we're gonna ignore that. This one is more comparable. This one, 1,200 square feet. It's still quite different from ours, but we can use that since we don't have a lot of comps. So what I can do from here, if I don't want to have to go back into the criteria and put in the square feet, I can just select the ones that I think is more comparable to ours. Okay, so those, right? And then from here, you can click on Quick CMA, and it'll run a quick, CMA for you to see that sold properties, they average anywhere from $61 a square all the way to 126. This 126 here, the reason why, we can use that as a comp, but we have to keep in mind that, the amount of remodeling that we have to put in to sell it for that amount is pretty extensive because they did a ton of remodeling on them. But if we're just looking at a quick look here, it's $88 a square, okay? And so if we calculate $88 a square times our subject property, let me see here, 88 times, is it 876?
Yes.
We would get a value of $77,088, okay? And I think that, our property can be worth that much, especially, if it had central heat and air, but because it only have Windows AC units, I think that, estimating at 70,000 would be more conservative. So, all right. Another thing that I also do, like if I'm, whenever I see like the discrepancy of why houses, value so differently. You have this one that sold for 124. You have this sold for 71. This sold for 60. A couple of things that I do is I will look into pictures and see, well, what condition they are in. Obviously, you look at this one, they completely remodel it, move walls around, made it very, very open concept.
Central air.
Central air, yep. Nice cabinets.
Is that near the property, Rhode Island?
It's in the same.
I want it.
Yeah, it's in the same subdivision. Yeah, and so that's the reason why it sold for 124,000. They must have put in at least like 60,000, maybe 50,000. In.
But Tim, I thought that, let's say like my home, no matter what I put in there, it would always go for what's in the neighborhood and surrounding area.
Right. That is true. So the person who did this house, this is a very risky move. However, even though it's risky, because it's still under 150, 124,000 is still affordable. So it was for them that they felt like it was worth the risk because it's still affordable. It's still like any house under 150,000 is considered as affordable, right? And so now if they did this and they try to sell this house for 300,000, that would be like absolutely crazy because then the neighborhood won't be able to support it. So in this case, so here's a good way to compare to see if the neighborhood can support it. If you look at this house here, 9302 Rhode Island, it sold for 107.5. Yes, it is a bigger house, but knowing that it sold for over 100,000, that this neighborhood can support that. You see what I mean? So you don't just look at dollar per square. This one is quite open concept too. Yeah, this one's been remodeled.
And that one's near Rhode Island too?
It's on Rhode Island, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. See, they did the addition. Notice, like, this is probably used to be the back of the house right here.
Mm-hmm.
This wall right here. So they built it out some more, and they put in central heat and AC. So yeah, they remodeled this house. So this house here is a it's a good good measure of what the neighborhood can go for. So, and I'm sure if we go back out the comps, let's say we look at a year's worth. Let's see what that would look like. We have this one that sold for 120 and only 1,000 square feet. Let's see. It looks like this one been remodeled as well. See the. All right, this is great. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I did this comp. Look at this. So this house is also remodeled. Nice wood floor, upgraded, and
that looks gorgeous.
yeah. So I wonder if it's. I'm gonna look here. Let's see if it's the same person who did the other property. No, Omar Rodriguez. Nope, it's not. But this person here that upgraded their house and sold for 120. So they're kind of like the pioneer for this person to come in and says, you know what? If they did that and they sold for 120, I can do that and sell for that much.
Kim, what does that property at 159,000 look like then?
It's a very big house, so it's probably not remodeled, but it's nice. Look, it has a garage apartment in the back.
Oh wow!
Oh, look, it's open. Look,
It doesn't look anything like the property you guys bought.
Yeah, well, this one looks like they're building this new, but they're not done building. See? So it looks like they might have stopped in the middle of the way. So someone's gonna buy this. Let me see, year built, 2016. So they're in the middle of repair. I mean, they're middle of building it brand new, but they stopped. So new construction, garage apartment, high ceiling, blah blah blah. Home will be completed. Okay. So basically, they listed the property before the house even finished building. So their intention is to finish building it. That's a good price, So again, another person who's pushing the market for us. And it's very risky to be among the first to push a neighborhood like this. But remember, I told you guys when we were out there that this is one of those neighborhoods that is trending up. So it's a transition, we call it transitional neighborhood. So it's transitioning from a ghetto neighborhood into a more moderate income neighborhood. So our house have a lot of potential. It's just that, we don't want to take the risk to do what these guys do to sell it for 120. So someone who has a higher risk tolerance level would do that. Now, let's say if our house was not in the condition that it's in, it's in a more ghetto condition where we can buy it for 30,000, then like doing a big time remodel to sell it for 120 makes more sense. Because you're gonna completely gut this house out anyway, so you don't need it to be in the condition, in a rent ready condition that it is now. So someone's probably gonna buy this and like totally upgrade it to sell it for 120.
But is that the one going for 30,000? It does look better than our property. Why?
Yeah, but it's only a 2-bedroom. Ours is a 3-bedroom. Ours already have the addition. This one don't have the addition yet.
Ah.
Okay. All right. So keep in mind that comps is very, very subjective. So if you were to hire 3 different appraisers, each of them is going to give you a different price. They won't necessarily come to agreement on the same price. Some neighborhood is easy to come to that agreement. Other neighborhood, it's much harder. So I'll give you an example. Right, Christine, you know about this, but the property that he just wholesale, the first appraisal came in at $170,000. The second appraisal came in at $200,000. So these are professional appraisers. When you have 2 appraisers and that the price difference is 30 grand, that's a big difference.
So do we just always go to the guy that he used that is the highest?
No, it depends. Like if it's normally when a homeowner is buying a house, the mortgage company is the one that's selecting the appraiser. We as a seller, we don't have that opportunity. Like that's not up to us to hire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We can only hire an appraiser for ourselves just so we can know what the value is. And if that's the case, then selecting the appraiser with the highest value is not necessarily a good idea, right? Because we want to be conservative.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So keep in mind that, when you're running these comps, like your comps, my comp, Fernando's comp, Kendall's comps, they might not be the same. It might be 3 different, but hopefully that we can come closer enough to each other. I'm going to pick on Fernando a little bit here. Like Fernando's comps, he tend to be more aggressive with his comps. So a lot of times his comps come back higher than what I would come back at, right? Because I'm looking at a more conservative view. So let me explain about, if you're using high. So okay, let me go here. Where is the? So we have high, average, and low. Okay, so if you look at here, the high comps here is 120,000. Okay, dollars per square. That's high. So if you're using this as your comps, then you're being like super aggressive. If you use this as your comp, 57, which is the low comps, then you're being like super conservative, okay? But if you're just using the average, then you're more in the conservative side, right? So if you're using high comps, aggressive, low comps, super conservative, and average comps is conservative. So, we want to be conservative. When we buy, we want to be conservative. When we sell, then we want to be high. So, for example, if I was to buy Rhode Island and fix it up, then I would use the high comps to hope that I can sell it for that amount, so I can make more money on it. But when I'm buying the property and I'm negotiating with Kendall, I'm not going to use the high comps to negotiate with Kendall, because what if I'm wrong? What if the market won't sell for the high comp? So if I'm buying from Kendall and I'm negotiating with him, I would use the average, the more conservative comps to negotiate with him so I can get a lower price.
Hey, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So as it relates to what we're doing now, if the agent agrees to say 70% initial offer, and then we run the comps, and we do the conservative way that you're talking about, and like let's say, well, it's not worth that 70%.
Yeah.
So what's the next move? What's the next move after that?
Yeah, it could be not worth it for a couple reasons. It could be that the house needs a lot more repairs than we think, right? Like there were 3 properties in the Sunnyside area that was on our warm list. And Francis and I drove drove the neighborhood and drove those houses, and they're just in such bad condition that that even at the price that we had,
The initial offer.
yeah, our initial offer, like it won't work, right?
Okay.
And so that sometimes that happens. I mean, generally speaking, we if they're countering back at the 70% that we want, we'll go ahead and move forward with getting the property under contract, and then that gives us some time to do our due diligence, go analyze the property some more, things like that. So does that answer your question?
Right. So basically, we're trying to get it under contract. That's the most important thing.
Right. Yeah. And unless it's like really obvious that we shouldn't put it under contract, because for us to put it in a contract, we don't want to be in a situation where we get in a contract with them, and then before we even send in any option fee or earnest money, we look at the property some more and we're like, ooh, like we need to get the price down a lot lower. We can't, our price won't be anywhere near this, and then we cancel the contract. We can do that, but we try to avoid doing that as much as possible. So the properties that we do get in the contract, we know that there's a high chance that we can move it. Rhode Island is a good example of that, right? Like we were gonna, she wanted 47,250, right?
Right.
And I said at 47,250, it's like it's too thin for us to get into contract, because we probably can only sell it for 50. And so I'd rather for us to wait to get it for 45, so that way we can make some money there. So that's an example of that. But I know Kendall, he's used to like just get in the contract and we'll renegotiate during the option period. And we
See, I think that's my question. What, like the sequence? What's the sequence here? So the sequence is they accept it, we get it under contract, and then the sequence is they counter or they accept it, we run the comps, and then get it under contract, and then you guys go out and look at the house, and then before you guys send any earnest money. Hey, by the way, on a side question, is the earnest money always going to be in play here? Earnest money and
yeah when
option money too.
Yeah, when we're dealing with these MLS properties, that's a standard protocol. So there are times we can get away with it, but those would be rarity, not the norm.
Okay, so back to the sequence. So then we'll sign the contract, and then go out, look at the house, look at the neighborhood, and only then, when we feel comfortable, then we'll send them the option money and the earnest money. Correct?
Correct.
Is that how it works?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and like right now, like right now we say, okay, well, we're not gonna just get any property under contract that that came back with a counter. We'll cherry pick the ones that we feel like there's something there before we get in the contract. But at the same time, like if we see it strongly that there's something there, we want to get it under contract as soon as possible before we even go look at the property, so the seller doesn't change their mind, like what happened with Peach Meadow.
Right.
So.
Okay.
But Tim, let's say we get the property under contract and we go to look at it, and it's far worse than the pictures showed,
Mm-hmm.
and we've already have it under contract. Do we still need to pay the option fee, like the option money, even though we're canceling the contract?
Yeah, the answer is no. We do not have to pay the option money if we're going to cancel the contract. What happens is if we write up a contract and we don't give them earnest money, we don't give them option money, then that contract is null and void. So that
Got it.
contract was never effective. So so that means that it's gonna get canceled by itself.
Hey, one thing when I got her down to the 45, I told her, yeah, we went out and looked at the house and all that, and it's in worse shape than what the pictures, were showing on the MLS. And then she replies with, yeah, I'm a good realtor. I was only showing you the pictures I wanted you to see. So is that common? I mean, on these upper end houses, I guess, not so much, but on these, these houses that are messed up, these ugly houses, like you say, that's common, isn't it? They only want they only want to show you the pictures that they like,
Well,
that look good, that look good.
that's common with any of these properties. Yeah, nobody wants to show ugly pictures and scare away their buyers.
Right.
So one more question about the option. So like, let's say that when technically when does the option period begin? Once they receive the option money, does the option
Yeah.
period start when the contract is executed?
No, the option period begins when the contract is executed, and we have up to 3 days to get the option money to them.
Got
If
it.
we go past 3 days from when the contract is executed, then we don't have an option. And if we don't have an option, then our earnest money kicks in from day one.
Got it. Okay.
Oh.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then so whenever we I guess let me keep going. So you're gonna select 2 to 4 sold comps that are most comparable to the subject property. All right, and and like I said, always look to. So here, let me go to map. You always want to check with the map too, to see where the properties are. Okay. So if you notice here, all the properties are within this little corner where it does not cross a major street like Clinton, nor Fidelity, nor this freeway. Okay. Last week, Fernando and I were looking at a property up north, and even though it's in the same subdivision, the houses that sold for more was on this side of the freeway, and our house was on this side of the freeway. And what that problem, like how that happened, was at one point there was no freeway there. There was just a subdivision, and the freeway divided that subdivision up. And so everything on the left side, the value was much higher. It's like 30-40% higher than the value on the right side. So we couldn't use the same, even though it's in the same subdivision, we cannot use the comps from here as the value for our property here. We would have to use the map. So we have to get out of that subdivision and find comps in other subdivisions that are on this side. Okay, so anytime you cross a major intersection, the value becomes quite different. Sometimes it's 10-20% different. Sometimes it's like double, right? If you look at if you look at areas like the Heights as an example, right? Crossing one street could mean a big difference. All right, let me go back to my thing here. So avoid crossing over major highways. All right, so what ifs? So if you have too many comps, then you want to narrow in sections. So there are neighborhoods that they built really big, like you have 10 or 20 different sections. And so comps in section 1 doesn't necessarily equals to comps in section 20, because section 1 might just be $100,000 house, and section 20 is $1 million house. And so you can't compare them. So you have to narrow down to sections that are near section 1. Okay. Also, if you have too many comps, you use square feet to narrow it down. A good rule of thumb is plus or minus 10% of the subject property square feet. So what that means is that if it's 1,000 square feet home, then you want to narrow down to 900 to 1,100 square feet homes. If it's a 2,000 square feet home, it'll be 1,800 to 2,200 square feet, right? So 10%. That's a general rule of thumb. And then also year built, narrowed down 10, plus or minus 10 years. So like with this house where it's built in 1946, it'll be 1936 and 1956. Now, generally speaking, when you go that old, then really something that built in 46 and something that built in 66 won't make that big of a difference. But unless it jumped over to that was built in the 70s or 80s or 90s, then it'll make a bigger difference because it's, now the houses are different now. Okay. So that's, an appraiser would do the same thing where they try to find properties that are as close to the subject property as they can in characteristics and distance. But if they have to, like, let's say if they couldn't find another 1946 built, so then they'll use comp for, a 2000 built, and they'll just reduce adjust the price accordingly for the year difference. But they do try to be as close to it as possible. All right. Now, what about if you have too few comps? Then you can expand the date sold from 0 to 180 days to 0 to 360 days. So you doing 1 year's worth of comps. You can also, if you had put in square feet and year built, you can remove those. So that way, so that way you can see other properties that are not necessarily in similar size and year built. And then map search is the other one that you can use. So go back to over here. So let's say there was no comps here, and what if you click on this thing here, and let's say I needed to find comps, ideally you want to find comps within here only. Actually, let me do this. Maybe this might work. Let me clear it. All right, and let's say the subdivision didn't have comp, so I'm going to put in the zip code instead and go to the map. So it tells me, what the area sold for. Okay, so I can put in 9226 Rhode Island. So it tells me that, why am I, hold on. I don't know why I'm having this stupid thing. How do I clear this? I must have clicked on something now. Okay. All right. So this little red dot thing here, that's where our house is. Okay, a little pin thing. So if I wasn't using subdivision, I can, I can go here to here, here. All right, and then it will give me all the comps in this area. I noticed I didn't select over here because like these houses looks like row houses, so I don't know if they're comparable. But just for fun, let me just select them so we can get an idea. Well, none of them were sold anyway, so it wouldn't matter. All right, so so from here I can go to results, and voila, it finds. In this case, that whole section will all in the same subdivision, but sometimes you'll find that there'll be different subdivision names. Okay. All right. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's not too complicated. Christine, did you understand that well?
I heard maybe 70% of it. So tomorrow morning, I will be in front of your face at 9:30. If you have the time to go over with me, I would like to just work on one and just.
Well,
Do
do you have time to work on one now? We can just try it. Like you're gonna do the same one, so that way, it'll be easy.
Okay, so let's. Where do I go first?
Hold on, I'm gonna switch over to you, so you can share your screen. Okay, hold on. Christine. All right. So I'm making you a host. So now, if you can click on share screen.
Share screen. Okay. Desktop.
Okay. All right. So we're going to pretend. Go ahead and close that out. We're going to pretend that we don't know the name of the subdivision yet. We only have the address to the property. Okay. So.
It's all okay.
All right. So step one is we need to log into the MLS.
MLS. Okay.
I'm not trying to confuse you, bro. Me? Bible check, wait. Looking for Bible check.
Okay. Home value.
On the right side, go to login.
Okay. Realtor Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So go ahead and log in with the
Your name?
yeah, the RMGE01
RMGE01. Okay.
and staff 01.
Okay. Okay.
From here, you're gonna click on Enter Matrix MLS.
Look at that, you guys.
All right. So now you're in the VIP area.
Okay.
Okay. So from here, so if we didn't know the name of the subdivision, the first thing we're gonna do is go find out what that is, and find out the details about the property. So we're gonna click on that public records.
Public records. See it? Okay.
Click on it.
Realist tax.
You can just click on public records on top. Yeah.
So would you say that where you are and with what you know, that you can run through this really quickly and come out with the really close to those numbers?
Yeah, I mean, I've done this long enough that, I generally, I mean, if I have to rush, for sure within 5 minutes, I would know.
Okay.
But if I have to do it faster, maybe within a couple minutes.
Okay, so I'm here.
We need to fix your Adobe. Shoot, I don't remember how to get, hold on here. Let me look. I don't remember how to turn on Flash. All right, never mind. We're gonna skip this part, until the next time I see you, I'm going to fix this flash thing. So go back to the MLS.
Okay.
So let's assume that we have done our search here and we found out the name of the subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
We have found, no, it's where it says matrix. Matrix, yeah.
Okay.
Let's say we have already found the subdivision. We already found the square footage, year built, bedroom, bathroom, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now go on the left of that, click on search.
Mm-hmm.
You can either click on quick or classic. So for now, just click on quick.
Okay.
All right, so first thing first is on that status on that left side. So
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna keep active, option pending, pending, continue to show, pending. We're gonna keep those checked and we're gonna check sold.
Okay.
All right, so by default, it tells us it's, you know, the last 6 months of sold comps, which we'll keep that. Now, go down just a little bit into the middle where it says subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
Right, go ahead and put in the name of the subdivision, which is Clinton Park. Okay. All right. So earlier, I teach you guys like the way I do it. I just put in the subdivision without putting any like year built and stuff first. But I'm gonna go ahead and have you practice that. You know, just do more, and then when you have less comps, you can yeah, you can go back and change it. But notice if you look on the bottom left corner, it says 9 matches. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it tells you have 9 properties that get returned. So on the top right where it says property information, where's square foot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so go ahead and put in. So our property is 876. So let's put in 776 976.
Okay.
All right, so that's basically plus or minus 100 square feet.
Okay.
And notice when we did that, if you look in the bottom left again, you see
Just one.
only one match. So it's like that's like too small. So like now let's do plus or minus 200 square feet. So let's do 676 to 1076.
You have 4.
Okay, so four is good. We'll look at that. Now go to year built.
Gear built. Okay.
You're gonna put 1936 to 1956 dash 1956.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
You have 4.
Move your mouse to a different box. Click somewhere else. All right, still 4. All right, so now go ahead. Let's go ahead and go click on results.
Results. Hold on. I need to see it. Results.
Yeah, that's fine.
What's OB? What's OP?
OP, option pending.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. We're in our option period right now. So in this case, because our house is listed on the MLS, we can see our house here. But if our house is not on the MLS, then we won't see it here.
Wait, there's another property on Rhode Island
Yeah, that's correct.
for 69,000.
Right, we saw that one earlier. And you said it. You can look into the pictures on that one just to see.
So you go all the way to the left?
Yeah, if you just want to see the pictures on one.
Ah. Oh, this looks nicer than our house. Oh, this looks much nicer than our house. So wait, I don't get it. If it's the same price, oh, no. You bought it for 40, right?
45.
45?
Correct.
Okay.
So yeah, go ahead and click on X to close this out.
Hit close, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like if we have to pay, $66,900 for our house, then we're better off buying the other house for $69,900. Right. So yeah, the only reason why our property worked is because they were willing to sell to us for a lot less than what they have listed for.
So let me ask you this. If you are that seller and you see something in your neighborhood like that, what if you hold out?
Well, you can, but what if you hold out and nobody buys?
Ah,
Right?
mm.
You know, he in our case, look,
But
go
does that happen often where you hold out and no one buys?
sometimes. So I'll give you an example. Here's a good sign. So on the right side where it says DOM and you have the number 60 and an asterisk. You see that?
Yes.
Okay. So DOM stands for days on market. That's how many days it's been sitting on the market for sale.
Oh.
Okay. And that star that you see, it means that it's been on the market for longer than 60 days. Okay. So
Wow.
move your mouse to the left side where
Mm-hmm.
you see that little clock looking thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
No, up a little bit. Left. Move slowly. Okay. Left, 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 left a little bit. Left. There you go. Click on that. So this is the property archive record. So it tells us the history of this property according to the MLS. The MLS history of this property.
The history of it?
Yeah.
Oh, your agent and all that?
Yeah. So if you look, so if you look in, you can see that in 2015 they bought this property for $29,000. You see that?
They're gonna make that much money? Oh my gosh.
Well, but we don't know what the condition of the property was when they bought it.
Okay.
So in 2015 they bought for $29,000. In 2017, the beginning of 2017, they listed for $70,000. You see that? And it didn't sell. So they switched over to a different agent in April 17 of 2017. And again, still listed at 70. So they've been trying to sell this house. They've been holding out, like you said, for 70,000 since the beginning of the year.
Wow.
So now they're like, you know what? Screw it. I just want out.
Oh, I feel bad for them.
Okay.
So 6 months from 70 now to 45.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah. This kind of stuff happens all the time. Like and we don't know what the reason why he's selling. It could be, it could be health reasons. It could be they're just tired. This house just been sitting there vacant. It could just, it could be, this house been vandalized. Like, we don't know.
So if any property that's been sitting on the market if it's long, that means it's just a disadvantage to you. The longer it sits on the market.
Correct. Yeah. Because it has a stigma to it.
Oh.
Okay. On top where you says cumulative days on market, the very top, the title.
137?
Yeah. So basically the 137 is how many days it's been, he's been trying to sell this thing.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Which is interesting that the agent kept saying that we were wasting her time.
That's what she told me too. When I told her to sell it to me for 40, remember? She said, I have a lot of offers. Your numbers doesn't even come close to what I'm being. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, she's just bluffing you. But yeah, I mean, well, she doesn't have a lot of time is because a lot of time has been wasted and her seller's probably very motivated.
Sure.
The seller's probably saying, it's like, I really need to sell this thing.
Right.
Wow. So you guys, does that mean that she lied when she said, "Oh, I'm not even making any money off this property"?
We don't know that. It could be she's just a friend and she's doing it as a favor, or maybe she is making money.
You guys, I just thought of something. I don't think I'd be good. I would be like, I'm sorry, this is it. How do you bluff this through? Oh my God. I'll spill the beans on what happened in that house.
What do you mean?
That, it's like, this is like all about talking and negotiating and all that. And I'm just like, is that my weakness? No. I can do this. I can do
Oh my God, you're far from that. That is far from being your weakness.
this. Really? Kendall, Tim, and everyone around me believe that I've got some kind of talk going on, but I don't see it.
No, it's you.
Maybe it's so natural you don't recognize it.
Exactly.
Really? Wait,
Yeah.
but my 22-year-old pointed out that, Mom, you just look very sweet, but you do devious things. Nobody ever catch you.
Hey guys, I hate to interrupt. The agent's calling me.
Go. Go ahead.
Well, tell the agent that we're moving forward with the contract. We're not terminating our option.
Okay. All right. Hold on.
Okay.
Hey, Damaris. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna move forward with the contract. We're not canceling. No. Yes. We'll see you at the closing table. Yes. Thank you so much. All right. Bye. Guys,
Uh-huh.
did
Go ahead.
you hear me?
Yeah, heard
Yes.
you. Yep.
I told her exactly what you wrote the other day. We'll see you at the closing table. I didn't even ask her any questions or anything like that. She said, "I'm shocked."
I know. We should have taken her on that bet that she wanted to make.
Yeah. But all right. So where are we? So go ahead and close this out. So I often click on this to do further research on the property, so that way I can see what's going on with this property. Okay. On bottom left, you see you can close there, or you can just switch back to matrix. But all right, so so notice here, because we put in the square feet, we get a lot less return. But the ones that are returning here, they're much closer to our subject properties than the others. Okay, but in this case, since we only have 2 that are sold, right, where it says close, those are 2 that are sold. We want to see if we can find 3. So go ahead and click on criteria. So go back to the square feet. So what we can do is we can just remove the square feet completely. Now if you have a subdivision where after you remove it completely, you get too many returns, then you're gonna put it back, and you just play around with like plus or minus 100 square feet, plus or minus 200, plus or minus 300. You just play around until you get a good amount of return. So in this case, we have 7 matches. So go ahead and click on results. All right. So yeah, so all of these looks good. So we can use these 3 sold comps here as our comps.
Hey, you guys, what does it mean if a property is like 5 days on the market or 9 days and it's sold? Does that mean that they priced it right, or what was it?
Yeah, it could be because they priced it right, or it could be that it's such a nice property that people bought it. So like this one that sold for 124, they had initially listed it for 130, and then a few days later, probably like a week later, they lowered the price to 125, and they sold at 124.
And what is ACT stat? Right here. This ACT.
Active.
Oh, okay.
So that's active, which is properties that are for sale right now. OP is option pending. Pending is they have it under contract. Close, that is sold.
Oh, this is the house I wanted to buy. Okay. It's so beautiful.
You can still buy that house. You just have to be willing to live in that neighborhood.
I know. Okay.
All right, so was this a good practice for you?
Yes, that was very good. So I will be
Fantastic.
practicing tonight.
All right, so Kendall,
Yes.
do you have time? You want to switch over to you and you do one?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, he's a pro at this.
Well, it's a little bit different from what I usually do, but
Really?
I love this way.
All
Yeah.
right. Hold on here.
What other way is different? What is it that you look at?
I usually search by the map, so it's a little
Oh.
bit different. I'm gonna have to log in and everything to.
All right.
Fascinating. So
Fin-
you guys, you know that I'm going to be sitting here practicing on all the properties that I know in my relatives, right?
yes. Could do that. Hey, Fernando, do you have that property that that the subdivision was? You know what I'm talking about?
From today?
No, that we did last week. Do you have?
I don't remember which one that was. Sorry. Give me 1 second here.
Okay. And Kendall, whenever you're ready, you can share your screen.
Okay, I'm just logging on really quickly.
Oh, Kendall, can I give you one of the properties I'm looking at?
That's a good idea.
Sure.
Okay. While you're doing that, I'm going to, okay, I have it. Very interesting. Very interesting. Wow. I think this is such a that this person that built that home and sold it for 124 to take such a risk in that neighborhood, you know? As much as I like the property, the home and everything, I don't know if I want to live there, but I guess if you don't have children, it doesn't matter. And like Tim says, in 20 years, it will be River Oaks.
That's right. There you go. Alrighty. Let's see. Sorry, my connection is a little slow. Okay. And I just share the screen. Alrighty, can you guys see?
Mhm. Okay, so property is 11802.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Are we doing this by the MLS number or by the
Quick.
So just assuming you only have the address, no MLS.
Okay. Got it.
So it's 11802 Greensbrook, Greensbrook, Forest, 77044.
1 R or 2 Rs?
1 R, sir.
Okay.
77044. And it's Houston. It
Okay.
for 73.5. And when I offered, they were like, well, we're only going to want, they say, if you can do 63, we'll sell it to you.
63, huh?
Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
you do your thing.
Oh,
So
it
now
might
we
work.
look at the tax information, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna show you a sort of a trick. Go back to Matrix, Kendall.
Okay.
Like since you already found this property on the MLS, if you click on that black TX, it'll open up the tax record for you.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. Nice.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. Learned something new
Awesome.
today.
Learn lots new today.
I know.
Okay. So we're looking for the bed and bath in square footage. So 2 bed, 2 bath,
3 bed.
Where?
bedroom, 3.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay. 3
Okay.
bed, 2 bath,
Yes.
Yeah,
2,000.
1080 square feet. Building square feet. Yeah.
Okay. Good deal. And the subdivision. Well, I guess the subdivision is already on the.
Yeah, but if we scroll up to the top, we can see. Yeah, Greensbrook is our subdivision name. If and yeah, just remember that. I just want to show you guys something. Scroll to the bottom, Kendall. If you want to do some research, sometimes down here they tell you, the history, the sales history. You see that? How this
Oh
this
yeah.
person bought it in May 2013.
Yes.
Yeah, they let me see here in 90s. Yeah, so look at the mortgage history. How in March 2013 there was a mortgage for 3.2 million.
Wow.
So
Why
here's
is
what
that?
happened. Yeah.
So what does that mean?
Yeah, it means that this was maybe part of a development or part of a big commercial like package,
Mm-hmm.
and they broke this property out and sold it by itself. But they have, like, let's say there's 100 of these properties that all are
I
under this.
I did find like 3 on the same street.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is that the loan from the builder, Tim? You think?
Yeah, GB Manor. Yeah, it does not necessarily the builder, but the last person who owns it. It's possible that this was part of a big package of homes that he owns.
Like a blanket kind of loan?
Yeah, like a blanket loan, exactly.
Hey, you guys, if you look at these things, how do you know if someone's got a lien on it or not? How do you know these things?
Right here, you can't tell very well. There's a different tool that we use to do that.
Oh,
Yeah, but I mean, according to this, there is no lien on this particular property. Sometimes this data is accurate enough that you can tell, like there's mortgage. There says mortgage history.
mm-hmm.
But in this case, like it doesn't say anything about mortgage in May of 2013 when they bought the property.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and scroll back up. All right, let's go back to our matrix thing on the left side then.
Okay. So now we do criteria.
Mm-hmm.
We want to include sold, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We don't put that information in yet. Or do
Yeah.
you want me to put the information in for
You don't have to, because there's only one. Well, we need to remove the address so we can see how many returns.
we need to put the subdivision in?
Yeah, let's see how many returns first, and then we can decide. 53. So yeah, we definitely need to put in square feet.
Okay.
It was 1080. So we want to put a range like
The
plus.
range of
So 980 to 1180.
Yeah. Let's see. 11 matches. All right, not bad. Year built. Do you guys remember what year built was?
2003.
3.
Okay, so let's do 1993 to 2000.
Why such a wide range of like 20 years?
It's plus or minus 10 years.
Okay.
So now we've got 10 matches.
Okay, let's look into that before we filter down anymore. All right. Yeah, it does
So a
look
lot
like
active.
this builder developed.
So I offered for 11, 831, 802, 730 because it kept popping up.
What?
So it looks like we don't have any sold. We just have pending.
All right,
Yes.
let's go to a year. So go back to criteria.
So the-
No, go to the left side where it says sold. Yeah, change that to 360. All right,
It's
we've
only
got,
one.
yeah, one sold for 68.5. All right, let's look at that. Let's look at the pictures for the one that's sold and the two that are pending.
So not updated.
It's pretty though.
Clean. Yeah. Very colorful.
Hey, that's little girl's room.
Looks like I didn't see any garage. Was there a garage?
Let's see.
Either you use it or you
Yeah, there's no garage.
No.
Okay. There's a shed. That's it. Right.
Yeah, just the parking in the front. Okay.
This one has a small garage. All right.
Okay.
Same, exact same. So it seems like the whole neighborhood was built. Bye, see you later.
Aw. Okay.
All right, so let's look at our property. Which one was ours?
This one, the 11831, or is it 802? Christine, do you remember?
I'm here. Hold on. Go ahead.
Do you remember what our address was? Is it 831 or 802 for our property?
It's 802.
Okay. That's it. So
Yeah, so something like this won't make for a good retail, but definitely we gotta check the rental comps on this thing. But let's go look at the property archive for our house. So click on that, yeah, that little thing. To the left of it.
this one,
Left.
the clock.
Yeah, clock. It's like turn back the clock, I think is
Turn,
what we're trying to say.
turn it back. Okay.
Oh, it's only been listed since June. There's no other listing.
That's interesting. So is it because it was part of a larger?
Well, at one point, yeah, it looks like at one point the builder owned a bunch of them, and then he sold it out individually. So this person, bought this one and owned it as a rental. All right, let's go to let's look at 11723 Greensbrook Forest. And the reason why we're looking at that is because of the days on market has a little star next to it. So let's
Okay. Do we want to see the history or do we want to see the photos?
the clock. The photos looks like they're all the same. They're all exact same property. So
Okay.
all right. So they were trying to rent it for 11. So it's also listed for rent. So it looks like they might end up renting this thing instead of selling. So look, it can rent for 1,100. Not bad.
That's nice.
So so sold comps. So okay, so this property sold comps is not going to make any sense because there's no comps sold for anything worthwhile. But
Right.
for a landlord to buy it as a rental, it makes sense because they're buying it for 70,000 and they're renting it for 1,100. Not a bad
Yes.
deal.
So looking at all that and see those other properties like that's been sitting there for so long, would they be? Can you offer them anything lower?
Yeah, you can. I mean, just like what you did for this property that you're doing, and they drop it. So at some point, all of these people that listed for 108, 185, at some point they're gonna come to their senses and they're gonna either lower the price um, or or just rent it out and not try to sell it.
Okay.
And look at what's interesting. So most of these are owned by the same person because the broker is the same. J Dan 01. You see that? In the
Yes.
office, notice? Yeah. So most of these properties, we don't know for sure if they're all the same owners, but with it being the same broker, it might be the same owners that they're dealing with. But it's interesting that their price difference are very different from one property to the next.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. So look at this one. This is 75.9 for 112 days. Surely they might come down on that, right?
Yeah. Isn't that the one we just looked at?
No, we're looking at 802.
Okay.
What is this AR
Area?
area? Okay. So that's the section of the neighborhood.
Probably. No, let me see. I thought that was an area, but put your mouse over at AR. Let's see if it says anything. Any tooltip? Click on it. It should be the market. Yeah, that is area. So it's
That's
like the MLS area. So
that's strange because like this one, this is so it's not the subdivision section because this is section 1. It
right.
shows area 2, and this is section 1, and this shows area 1.
I think it's probably one of those that's right in the middle of a dividing line. Not a section area, but an MLS area.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but MLS areas doesn't matter to us. I don't know how the MLS people divide up their areas, but
So let me ask you this. If they said 63 for that 11,802
is that
property,
what they counted at to you right now? Is
yes, 63.
there's something there. If you can get it for 60, get it under contract.
60? Okay. Okay.
So you're close. I think 60, and then we'll try to sell for 65.
Okay. But are you not looking at it and worried that, well, all the other properties are there over 100 days?
Yeah, but they're all higher than ours. Ours will be the cheapest. So it's very similar to Rhode Island.
Mm. Okay. So let me communicate with them and
Yeah, actually try to come back. What was your initial offer?
70% of that. Let me get to my I
Yeah,
have it on my list.
try to come back with 55. Try to get in the contract for 55 first and then work your way up. But the highest you're going to go is 60.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, it looks like you might have a deal.
Yeah, Christine. That's exciting.
Awesome.
Okay, guys, I have to wrap this up, but thank you so much. I learned so much today, and this all looks very fascinating. So I'll start playing with some of the offers that I've been getting back. Okay.
All right, awesome.
Okay, and I'll reach out to you if I have any questions. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Bye.
Kendall, are you still there?
I'm still here. Yep.
Do you have any other questions for me?
I don't. Not about the MLS. I did get a text message from Nate during our training, and I just wanted to chat with you about that.
Okay, yeah.
So so Nate said that he has no problem doing the $500 deposit.
Mm-hmm.
He just can't get out to the bank today by the time they close because he's at a job site. So he said he can do it tomorrow.
Okay.
He said he's up in, I think he's up near Willis, I think.
Okay.
So he's got Bank of America and Capital One nearby. He just wants to know about, like, is there an account that he needs to put it in, or how do you want to go about handling the deposit?
Sure, I can send him an account. I'll text it to you, and then you just forward over to him.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Okay. Awesome. Cool deal.
Hey, Fernando, are you still on the line?
Yes.
So, so the agent sounded a little bit shocked that we were closing on the deal.
Yes. Those were her exact words.
That's really funny. Hopefully she'll have a little less stress now,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously I think she probably, like you said, she was probably under the gun to get this deal
No, like
closed.
she goes. The first thing she said was, "You have 34 minutes to send me that thing." So, the cancellation. And then I told her, "No, we're not going to cancel." She goes, "What?" I go, "Yeah, we're not going to cancel." She goes, I'm shocked.
Yeah. Well, she probably had a lot of experience where wholesalers backed out. You
Right.
know. Yeah. I mean, as you know, like 50% of
Absolutely.
the deals blow up. So like.
Exactly. Especially with a lot of people that, just put them under contract without really doing really doing due diligence or really analyzing the numbers.
Right.
And then sometimes, even if it is a good deal, a lot of times that can fall apart too.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it's a volatile deal structure, but it's just, I guess, nature of the beast.
Yep.
So, well, good work, guys. Thank you so much, Tim. This was awesome.
Yeah. Good. All right. So the way you do it is you start out with the map, and then you go down to the subdivision, or what?
Yeah. So I put in the actually, I put in the I'll put in the address. Well, I'll search by the map, and I honestly haven't really used Matrix a whole bunch. I was using Tempo.
Okay.
So on Tempo, I would just go to run the comps. I'd run the comps there, and the way that I would do that is I just click on the you do the neighborhood and then the section, and then you click the search by map, and then it will give you sort of like an aerial view of that area.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do the property locator section. I put in the property locator.
Gotcha.
And it'll show me where the actual property is, and then I'll just use the polygon tool to draw the around and make sure that it's not, and then I do the search criteria. After that, I'll hit search, and then kind of pare it down and play with it that way. So that's one of the ways that I do it. And then also the other way that I do it without the map is just where I'll search by neighborhood, I'll search by section, the square footage, and then I'll do the plus or minus 10 years, and then start at 6 months back, and then just search it that way and just kind of compare the photos and see what that's like.
Sounds good. Yeah, I normally do the subdivision is because I want to find properties in the same subdivision first. If I don't have that, then I'll go to map. But yeah, my default is always the subdivision first.
I love that.
Yeah.
Honing it down even more. I love it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. This is fantastic.
Awesome.
So the close, how will that happen?
Yeah. So you're gonna work it out with Nate. Are you going to assign to Nate and then Nate assign to his buyer?
Yeah, I think that's how we're gonna do it.
Okay. So then I would recommend that you go to closing, and I'll go too. We'll go to
Okay.
closing. We meet with the agent to say hi, you know, and you know, and then she's, of course, she's gonna. I don't know if the buyer's gonna come in at the same time with the seller or not. Uh,
Okay.
it's up to the buyer if they want to come in at the same time. If they do, we just let the buyer know, like, you know, we're together, so that way the agent can see that we're together. We're not just like randomly trying to wholesale to some strangers or something, you know.
Right.
So
Okay. So we just need to find out the close time, right, with the
with the
with the
seller,
title company.
yeah, yeah. So it's I mean, normally I do the closing two separate times. So I'll have the, you know, either the seller come in and sign first, or the buyer comes in and sign first. Uh,
Right.
it's better if the buyer comes in and sign first, because then they'll bring in the money. So by the time the seller comes in and sign, the deal can be funded at the same time.
Got it. So can the will the title company, will the escrow agent set that up, or do we need to tell her to do the buyer first and then
Yeah,
the seller?
yeah, we can tell her that. So yeah, so Fernando, if you can contact well, once we get the assignment, right? Once we get the assignment, we need to send that over to the title company, because they need to update the title commitment with the buyers, with the end buyers contact info in there.
Right.
And then we'll let the um, the title agent know to schedule closing with the buyer first, so that way the buyer can come in, bring his money. We need to find out from Nate, like, is the buyer's going to bring in a cashier's check, or is he going to wire in the money?
Okay. I'll
Um,
find out.
yeah, if he's going to wire in the money, then I mean, you know, the buyer doesn't have to come in first, but if we want to keep them separate, then we can, you know, we can have them come in first, so that way the agent doesn't meet with them, and then we can come in when the seller signs, so that way we can meet the agent just to say hi.
Excellent. I love that.
Um,
Okay.
and then yeah, and so we'll yeah, so yeah, so as soon as you get the assignment, you know, send it to us, and then Fernando will forward that to the title company and coordinate the closing from there.
Perfect. Good deal. That sounds excellent. I'm looking forward to it.
Yay!
Yay, first deal done.
That was fast too.
Yeah, it was
It's not
fast.
even a month, 3 weeks.
No, 3 weeks. And yeah, and I'm really surprised that it actually happened, because because, you know, just how difficult the agent was being, and then we ended up having the close so close to the end of our option period.
Hey, I
You
have a
know.
question. Moving forward, with that said, are all the agents going to be that difficult, you think?
No.
Well, yeah, the correct answer is no, and the answer is, you know, some will, some won't, and we'll just dance with that.
Yeah.
When she was saying that, you know how she was saying we were a scam and somebody told her about the kind of things we do. Like, do we have like a bad rep in the industry or something? Or I mean,
Well,
like a used car, like a used car salesman?
it's like this. Agents don't like wholesalers because they think that wholesalers are doing their business and taking away, you know, their business, right? So
Right.
wholesalers, like, wholesalers are very similar to real estate agents, where, you know, we make money being the middleman, and we're not licensed. Versus an agent, they have to go through their licensing, they have to pocket it with a broker, pay a broker, to do sort of, well, in their minds, sort of the same thing that we do.
Okay.
So agents who are not investor friendly, they don't understand our business, so they think that we're trying to do what they do without a license.
Okay. Okay. So last question. So what about the for sale by owner list? Why don't we do the same thing for the for sale by owner list?
Yeah, we are going to do the same thing for the for sale by owner list, but it's different because the for sale by owner list doesn't have all the data
Doesn't have email.
readily available like the way the MLS does.
Right.
You know, we don't have pictures. We don't have. There's a like, it's not as easy.
Sounds easy. All right. Okay.
Good deal. Well, I will get that contract, the assignment contract over to Fernando as soon as Nate sends it to me, and I forwarded him the deposit information already, and then we can go from there.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, Tim. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Bye bye.